What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Combat Sports Media YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about, breaking down and giving out a prediction for the upcoming Xander Zayas versus Abass Baraou super welterweight unification fight taking place in Puerto Rico on January 31st. Now, before I go any further, let me just say this off the bat. This is a real fight. This is as 50-50 as it gets, in my opinion. Abass Baraou is a world-class fighter. As an amateur, he was a multiple-time European champion, and he got the bronze in the World Championships. He won his WBA, I believe that he was the interim version, but it doesn't matter. He won his title by beating Cuban standout Yoannis Tellez. I believe that's how you pronounce his name, who himself is no pushover and is a quality fighter. Abass Baraou comes forward with the high guard, very strong and explosive fighter and puncher, and he's basically a measured pressure fighter. In a lot of ways, he's kind of similar to Arthur Abraham, the Armenian-based German fighter from a few years back, former middleweight and super middleweight champion. Devastating puncher, would walk you down, drain your energy with the high guard, and that's kind of like how Baraou fights, but he's a little more active. He throws more punches and probably doesn't crack as hard as Abraham. As a matter of fact, I know he doesn't. His record even suggests that. However, very similar style, very strong will, very strong heart, and devastating right hand, and delivers when he's in range. He also attacks the body really good. So there you have it on him. Moving on to Zayas, he, in my opinion, has been coddled for much of his career, especially in the beginning. But that's no fault of his own, no fault of even the matchmakers or the promoter. It's just the way things work. But he slowly stepped up his level of competition. But to be honest with you, in my opinion, it's still not impressive at all. I don't even know who he won his title. He's the current WBO champion, but I forgot who he beat. It was some Mexican fighter who I remember was very unathletic looking and had a lot of heart, but was very limited from what I remember. No disrespect to him, very tough guy, but I don't remember watching him before, and I certainly haven't seen him since. So in many ways, this is Xander Zayas' true step up in competition, if you think about it, as far as world-class competition is concerned. He's never fought a world-class fighter before. This is the first time. Now, we've seen this strategy backfire on matchmakers and promoters, and we've also seen it work. Gary Russell Jr., very talented and great fighter, one of the best featherweights of his era. He was kind of on a similar trajectory, and then all of a sudden he went from fighting C-level competition to world-class in Lomachenko for his title shot, and he ended up dropping the ball and putting on a flat performance. And that immediate jump up in competition might have had something to do with it. He wasn't ready for it, and Xander, despite what his matchmakers may tell you, he's been on a steady diet of C and C plus level fighters for much of his career. He doesn't have one world-class guy on his resume. Again, this will be the first time. So we're going to see how it goes. And because of that, this has been very difficult for me to break down and predict, because I kind of know what we have in Baraou. I just don't know to what extent. But Xander Zayas, to me, even a guy who is a fighter himself and has quote-unquote good eyes and a lot of experience at watching and looking at fighters, It's kind of hard to tell, man. You know, he doesn't have power, so that right there is a big thing going against him in the professional game. So right there, we know that he's not gonna ever be a Trinidad. So we got that out of the way. So as far as world class fighter that can win a title and defend it a few times, I don't know. He's got good hand speed. Physically, he looks big and strong for the weight. I haven't really seen him get pushed around too much lately. So even though he lacks punching power, he has physical strength. He has decent athleticism, but nothing out of this world. We don't know if he could take a shot because he hasn't really been hit with any devastating punches from anybody that can punch. So based off of that, moving on to the prediction. Oh, by the way, he's obviously an orthodox fighter. A Puerto Rican future star. At least that's what it seems like. And that's another thing. We saw Subriel Matias take another L this past weekend against Dalton Smith. Congratulations to Dalton Smith for winning the WBC's super lightweight world title. But for some reason or another, despite how good Matias was, he never was able to attract the kind of following that a guy like Berlanga or Zayas are able to do. Now, I live in Puerto Rico, and I don't know exactly why that is. That's not to say that Matias isn't respected. He definitely is. He's just not as popular, and he, unlike Berlanga and Zayas recently, had already become a world champion and was already on his second time. He's a two-time champion, and he has an exciting style. So it's very interesting and a kind of a question mark on what makes the Puerto Rican fans want to follow you as a fighter. Because you have Subriel Matias, you have Xander Zayas and Berlanga, all Puerto Rican, but for one reason or another, the one that was the most accomplished and had the most exciting style wasn't just didn't attract the same amount of fanfare as the other two. So that's if you guys could help me out with that, please let me know in the comments. Also, I have realized that a lot of you that watch me are from the UK. If that's the case, please let me know where in the UK, London, Liverpool, Manchester, you name it. I would love to know. So the prediction is, honestly, I have to lean a little more towards Baraou because on the fact that I know what I have. I have a world-class fighter for sure, and a strong, hungry one at that. Zayas, I've seen him struggle with much lesser opponents, if he does lose this fight, I still think it could be a benefit to his overall development and future. It's not the end of the world. And at the end of the day, it's a unification in the most competitive division in the sport. So nothing to be ashamed of, but that's what I gotta go with Baraou. I'm not saying he's gonna knock him out or anything, but I gotta go with Baraou. So there you have it, folks. Please subscribe if you already haven't done so, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.